As you can see, to my immediate right, the lineup is enormous.
Enormous is right. Queues stretching several kilometres. Tail lights as far as the eye can see.
We said this to the government earlier today, that they needed to put more resources in place, and yet they are here now, waiting for many, many hours.
I can't tell you how pleasing it is when we say something and then people respond. And I apologise if anyone was inconvenienced.
Fair to say, plenty of people were inconvenienced.
It's total chaos, love. I mean, they can't get the message across. For starters, they change their story every 5 minutes.
Terrible. To tell you the truth, pissed off.
Well, I was here last night too for 3 hours. I had to turn around to go home. So when I have a shower, a quick eat, and then 3 hour nap, I come back here again.
He wasn't the only one, with reports people with symptoms were abandoning queues because of the wait times.
3 hours. 4 hours?
Now around 5 hours.
6 hours to get it done now.
The long queues are impacting on residents. They can't get in and out of their homes. Teachers can't get into the schools. Students can't even get in to get resources. So not only is it just impacting on those workers and general residents, but now it's the entire community.
The queues for testing, you're comfortable with that from what you're saying?
Oh, please don't put words in my mouth. That's not what I said.
The New South Wales government emphasising a late change yesterday, giving essential workers more time to get swabbed.
Those requirements come into effect from the weekend.
As it again changed its advice today, this time concerning where to get tested.
We have put on extra staff and extra facilities, but in order to ease the pressure, including traffic congestion, if you're a worker with no symptoms, you can get tested near where your workplace is.
Fairfield locals desperately hoping that's enough to avoid this becoming a regular occurrence.
I can't afford to do this every 3 days, but you do what you do. It is what it is.
Well, Fairfield Mayor Frank Carboni joins us now. Frank, we saw so many exhausted people there in those queues today, taking the time to do the right thing after long shifts. It's so much on top of what Fairfield is already going through. How's everybody holding up?
Well, it's a lot to ask. These are some of the most respected people in our community. These are doctors, nurses, supermarket workers. These are our essential members of the community that keep Sydney going, no matter where people live. And, you know, it's a lot to ask from them to actually have to work for 12-hour shifts and then have to come and line up 6 to 8 hours just to get tested. I mean, the community has risen to the occasion, and it's time that the government also steps up and provides more testing facilities.
With people turning up to testing sites and it's, you know, too difficult to get a test, are you concerned that maybe some of those people could be symptomatic in the community because it was so difficult to get tested?
Oh, there's no doubt, and I've had reports that some members of the community that were feeling unwell last night were waiting up to 6 hours and they just went home. And what we want to make sure is that we have enough testing clinics. What we don't want is this surveillance testing of all essential workers. There's tens of thousands of them to impact those people that really need it most. Sure, let's test everybody, but let's stop those that really need it, those that are sick, to be able to go and get tested.
Frank, do you think the change in advice today directing essential workers to get tested outside Fairfield will make any difference?
Well, no, I don't think so. I don't think we should be penny pinching here because we've got some clinics outside of Fairfield. I mean, and directing people to go there. I'm all for people getting tested outside of Fairfield, but if people are not going, the government needs to stop penny pinching. This is a health crisis. You need to be able to put the resources in the areas where it's needed. If this is such a significant health issue, surely the government isn't concerned about operating some more pop-up clinics. It's the government telling people to get tested. Put in the resources. Help us do what you want us to do. Help us get rid of this virus.
That sounds like a fair point, Frank, but I think all they're saying is that you can go get tested where you work. So it's just about making it easier so that...
But we encourage people to do that, but if people don't want to go, well, what are you supposed to do? People also want to go sometimes with their family members. They find it easier to go local. Don't forget shift workers finish at different times as well. I understand that. I'm not trying to cut you off. But when you're trying to test 20,000 essential workers just from the Fairfield LGA 2 times a week, that's 40,000 tests. We then have another 200,000 residents that are just as important to get tested. So when everyone's trying to make this big effort to get tested, we need the clinics. And I'll tell you something, residents that live outside the area that come to work in Fairfield, there's tens of thousands of them. How is it fair? They don't get tested, but our residents get tested. How do you think our residents feel? That's not right. I am concerned that our residents have been picked on. Our residents are frustrated. They work long shifts. And for them to have to go and line up 6 hours to get tested, that's just not on. And we're not going to cop this.
Well, Frank, a tough few weeks ahead for you guys, possibly months. We really hope you get through it, and we really appreciate your time. We wish you all the best.
We will get through. Thank you very much. Thank you.
You know, you often hear about the worst of people in these times, the ones that have the illegal parties, the ones that aren't forthcoming with information. Then you see those queues, people that have worked a full day, have families waiting for them at home. It's night time. They wait for 6 hours only to not even get in, go home, 3 hours later, turn around and go to work. And you go, they're doing that to do the right thing and to be good citizens and to do it for other people. That is the good.
Yes,
I was amazed when I saw that this morning.
And they need all the support that they can get to do it. And that's where I think, that's the other, we've spoken a lot about the not defining what's essential bit. And this is the other aspect of it. Because it could well be that a whole bunch of those people actually wouldn't be essential if the government named it, and then there would be fewer people who would need to get those tests every week or twice a week or whatever, which would then take pressure off the city. Like,
the devil's always in the detail in all these things.
Yes.
It can change, you know, people's entire lives if you just give them really strict
and it's
clarity.
not their fault. They're doing their best to make the best of a situation that's completely unclear for them when it could be made clear.
How are you guys feeling, Rach?
Oh, I mean, you know, it's not ideal, but I think in an environment like that, you know, when something's a hot spot in an area and you just see those poor people having to deal with that kind of stuff, especially when they're trying to do the right thing, it's just horrible.
With so much content online, it's sometimes hard to keep up with it all. And let's face it, who has the time? The Project YouTube has you covered with the stories that matter. Hit subscribe for a daily list of the news that you need to know.